In the summer of 1998, in the magnificent land of France, the German national team, Die Mannschaft, entered the World Cup as the reigning European champions. They brought to the tournament a squad likened to seasoned old generals, historical witnesses who had hoisted the golden trophy in 1990. With steel discipline and a gritty fighting spirit quintessential to German football, they were expected to continue their epic saga. However, football is not just about glory. The bitter 0-3 defeat to Croatia in the quarterfinals was not merely a loss, it marked the collapse of an empire, a sorrowful farewell to the final golden generation of the 20th century. More than 2 decades have passed since that summer in France. Where are those heroes now? Time has etched the wrinkles of experience onto their lives, guiding them down vastly different paths of destiny. Some became powerful executives, others found peace in the countryside, and some have had to battle the rough seas of life. Let us look back at the tumultuous journeys of the 12 most prominent faces of that tank squad. Jürgen Klinsmann, position striker. In the 1998 German squad, Jürgen Klinsmann was not just the captain but the soul, the brightest flame in the attack. At 33, with his flowing blonde hair and powerful strides, Klinsmann was the embodiment of desire. He scored 3 goals at the tournament, always the first to rally his teammates when difficulties struck. People remember him for his diving headers, clinical one-touch finishes, and the haunting image of his tears after the defeat to Croatia. Klinsmann's performance that year was the tragic finale of a great nomad who gave his all for his national colors. After removing the captain's armband and retiring from playing, Klinsmann's life took a fascinating and revolutionary turn. Instead of resting, he moved to the United States, immersing himself in the open and modern culture there. Klinsmann returned to football as a coach with innovative ideas. He was the architect of the German football revolution in 2006, completely transforming the outdated defensive mindset into a free-flowing attacking style. His managerial career has seen ups and downs, from highs with Germany and the USMNT to lower notes at Bayern Munich, Hertha Berlin, and recently the South Korean national team. Klinsmann's personal life is as colorful as his career. He is a family man, living quietly in California, away from the noise of European media. Klinsmann is also known as a man of many talents, holding a certification as a traditional baker, his family's trade, and possessing a helicopter pilot's license. Freedom, a love for exploration, and a willingness to change are his compass in life. The contrast between a cold-blooded assassin in the penalty box and a cheerful, open-minded Californian man in real life is Klinsmann's unique charm. Today, at the age of 60, Jürgen Klinsmann is still diligently involved in coaching and international football commentary. Though his hair is graying and his face bears the marks of time, his eyes still burn with passion whenever he speaks of the beautiful game, continuing to inspire the younger generation to dare to think, dare to do, and dare to change. Oliver Bierhoff, position striker. At the 1998 World Cup, Oliver Bierhoff was the name that struck fear into every defense with his supreme aerial ability. At 30, he was a true king of headers, a classic center forward with the ability to choose positions and finish coldly. With 3 goals scored, Bierhoff proved that his golden goal at Euro '96 was no fluke. He played with a calm, gentlemanly demeanor that concealed a fearsome lethality. On the pitches of France, Bierhoff was like a gentleman on a hunt. No frills, no flashiness, but ruthlessly effective, serving as the solid anchor of Die Mannschaft's attack. Away from the spotlight of the pitch, Oliver Bierhoff built an illustrious management career, arguably even more successful than many of his peers. After retiring in the colors of Chievo Verona, he quickly utilized his academic background. He holds a degree in economics to step into the upper echelons of German football. For 18 years, Bierhoff served as the director of the German national team, the brain behind the scenes, restructuring the youth training system and building the modern Die Mannschaft brand. The success of the 2014 World Cup victory bore the significant imprint of his managerial vision. However, his management career also concluded after the national team's consecutive failures in recent tournaments, forcing him to resign in regret. In real life, Bierhoff is the model of a successful and disciplined man. He rarely gets involved in scandals, always appearing with the polished look of a businessman rather than a former player. His life revolves around work, family, and football development projects. The coldness, calculation, and precision on the pitch seem to have translated into his life, turning him into a sharp and decisive manager. Today, after leaving the German Football Association, Oliver Bierhoff, now in his late 50s, is enjoying rare downtime with his family and engaging in sports consulting and business projects. His journey is proof that intellect and football can go hand in hand to create lasting legacies. Lothar Matthäus, position, sweeper, libero. Lothar Matthäus at France 98 was a living monument, a legend taking the final steps of a magnificent international career. At 37, he was still the final stronghold of the defense, playing as a libero, a position he elevated to an art form. Although his speed was no longer what it was in his youth, Matthäus's tactical vision and ability to read the game remained world-class. He was the spiritual leader, the record holder for national team caps and World Cup appearances. The image of Matthäus directing the defense and launching precise long balls became a symbol of ageless endurance and class. After that tournament, Matthäus continued to play at the top level for a few more years before moving to the US for his twilight years and officially hanging up his boots. His backstage career afterward was a chaotic and colorful picture. He tried his hand at coaching with Rapid Vienna, Partizan Belgrade, the Hungarian national team, and Bulgaria, but did not achieve resounding success as he did when playing. Instead, Matthäus became one of Germany's most expensive and forthright football pundits. He never hesitates to offer prickly opinions, sometimes causing controversy, but is always respected for his deep expertise. Matthäus's private life has been a topic that consumed much ink in the tabloids, with 5 marriages and countless romances. It seems the desire to conquer and the massive ego on the pitch were also reflected in his turbulent love life. Despite his somewhat noisy personal life, no one can deny the burning love for football in this man. Today, in his 60s, Lothar Matthäus still appears regularly on major TV channels as an analyst. He is a global ambassador for the Bundesliga, traveling the world to promote German football. His journey is the story of a genius who refuses to grow old, a man living every moment to the fullest with his own aura. Andreas Köpke, position goalkeeper. In the German goal in 1998 was Andreas Köpke, the hero of Euro 96. At 36, Köpke brought absolute peace of mind thanks to his calm demeanor and extraordinary reflexes. He was not a flashy goalkeeper who shouted constantly. He conquered viewers with certainty and reasonable positioning. Although he had to pick the ball out of the net 3 times in that fateful quarter-final, no one blamed Köpke, because before that, he had delivered excellent performances to keep clean sheets and protect the team's results. Köpke was a silent pillar, the most reliable guardian during the transitional phase of German football. After the 1998 World Cup, Köpke announced his retirement from the national team, ceding the stage to Oliver Kahn. He continued to play for Marseille and then returned to Nuremberg before retiring in 2001. Unlike the noise surrounding many teammates, Köpke chose a path of silent but extremely important contribution, becoming the goalkeeper coach for the German national team for 17 years, 2004 to 2021. Under his molding hands, Germany produced outstanding generations of goalkeepers like Jens Lehmann, Manuel Neuer, and Marc-André ter Stegen. He was the man behind the stability in Die Mannschaft's goal across many World Cups and Euros. Andreas Köpke's daily life is very simple and private. He is a family man, always supporting the career of his son Pascal Köpke, who also followed the path of professional football. The calmness and modesty on the pitch are a true reflection of the man in real life. A dedicated teacher, unconcerned with personal fame, focused only on elevating others. Today, after leaving the German coaching staff with Hansi Flick, Andreas Köpke is enjoying a peaceful retirement. However, his knowledge and experience remain a precious treasure, and he still occasionally participates in football events as a respected legend of the goalkeeping position. Jürgen Kohler, position, center back. Jürgen Kohler, respectfully called Fußballgott, football god by fans, was the bedrock of the German defense in 1998. At 32, Kohler still maintained his fiery, aggressive style and the man-marking ability like a shadow that made his brand. He was the terror of every striker due to his tenacity and cunning. However, his final World Cup ended incompletely. In the minutes he played, he gave his all, but age and the shift of modern football made his strength-based style struggle against agile opponents. After retiring in the colors of Borussia Dortmund, where he became a club legend, Kohler tried his hand at coaching. However, this path was quite thorny. He managed the German U21 team, served as sports director at Bayer Leverkusen, and coached lower league teams. A serious health incident involving his heart once forced him to pause work for treatment, but with the bravery of a warrior, he overcame it. Kohler is also very active in charitable activities, especially foundations supporting children with heart disease, stemming from his own experience. A coaching career that wasn't overly brilliant did not dim the great legacy he left behind. In real life, contrary to the rugged appearance and the iron playing style on the pitch, Kohler is a warm, funny, and extremely humble man. He cherishes every moment with his family and always maintains good relationships with old teammates. Today, Jürgen Kohler is serving as a coach for the youth team of Victoria Köln, or participating in youth training. In his late 50s, he still keeps the flame of enthusiasm, imparting top-class defensive experience to the budding generation, a testament to a pure and selfless love for football. Thomas Hessler, position, midfielder. Thomas Hessler, the talented short man nicknamed Ich, was the conductor of Germany's play in 1998. Though only 66 meters tall, on the pitch, he was a giant of technique. Dazzling dribbles, the ability to keep the ball glued to his feet, and especially deadly free kicks were Hessler's potent weapons. At 32, though his stamina had declined, whenever the ball reached Hessler's feet, one could still see the rare softness and creativity in an aging and rigid collective. He was the artistic stroke in the muscular picture of the German team at that time. After the tournament, Hessler wandered through various clubs like Dortmund, 1860, Munich, and finished his career in Austria. Ich's life behind the scenes was a melody more sad than happy. He struggled to find a position in top-level coaching, usually only leading lower-tier teams or working as an assistant. Notably, his personal life once fell into financial crisis and a broken marriage. There were times when fans were heartbroken to see the world champion having to participate in reality TV shows like Jungle King to make a living and keep his name alive. However, the willpower of a small player who once conquered the world helped him stand up. Hessler never gave up on football. He accepted starting over at amateur teams, finding joy in coaching unknown players. The contrast between a flashy star on the pitch and a man struggling in real life makes his story all the more moving. Today, Thomas Hessler is still diligently coaching in lower leagues in Berlin. Though no longer standing under the brilliant spotlight, his gentle smile and love for the ball remain intact, an affirmation of the value of undying passion. Andreas Müller, position, midfielder. Andreas Müller, one of the most naturally gifted yet controversial talents in German football history. At the 1998 World Cup, at age 30, Müller played the role of the main creative source, the link between midfield and attack. With exquisite personal technique, speed, and long-range shooting ability, he was always a constant threat. However, a somewhat arrogant personality, frequent complaining, and past diving incidents meant he was always viewed strictly by the media. Nevertheless, no one could deny Müller's class, a classic number 10 carrying pride and outstanding talent. Müller's career afterward continued to shock with an unthinkable transfer from Dortmund to arch-rivals Schalke 04, where he continued to shine and win the German Cup. After retiring, Müller tried his hand at many roles: coach, sports director, and commentator. He spent time as an assistant for the Hungarian national team and later as the director of Eintracht Frankfurt's youth academy. Müller's path after hanging up his boots was quite rocky. He had to work hard to erase prejudices about his personality and prove his managerial competence. In his private life, Müller is quite private after the noise of his youth. He focuses on professional work and spends time with his family. The arrogance of the past has been replaced by the calmness and maturity of a seasoned man. He clearly understands the price of fame and public pressure. Today, Andreas Müller remains attached to football, holding technical management positions at German clubs. He is proof that true talent will always find a place, no matter how bumpy the road may be. Dietmar Hamann, position, midfielder. As one of the youngest faces of the German squad in 1998, Dietmar Hamann, 24 years old, was seen as the future of Die Mannschaft. With intelligent play, a hammer-like long shot, and incredible composure, Hamann brought a fresh breeze to an aging midfield. Although not yet an irreplaceable pillar at that tournament, his minutes on the pitch signaled the birth of a world-class defensive midfielder. Hamann represented the transition, the hyphen between the old and new generations. After the 1998 World Cup, Hamann's career flourished brilliantly when he moved to England to play for Newcastle and later became a Liverpool legend. His peak was the magical night in Istanbul in 2005, where he came on as a substitute and helped Liverpool come back to win the Champions League despite a broken toe. Hamann was lovingly called Didi and Kaiser by the English. After retiring, he faced some serious personal issues, including a gambling addiction which he bravely made public in his autobiography. Hamann's journey of rehabilitation and finding life balance is a story full of resilience. Today, Dietmar Hamann is one of the most respected and sharpest football pundits on Sky Germany and British TV channels. He is famous for his frank analysis, sparing no one, and occasionally causing media storms. His current life is a mix of busy media work and a passion for other sports like cricket. Hamann has overcome the shadows of personal mistakes to become a brave man, using his own story to warn and inspire others. Christian Ziege, position: defender/left midfielder. Christian Ziege came to the 1998 World Cup at the age of 26 as one of the best attacking left-backs in Europe at the time. With an extremely obedient left foot and precise crossing ability, Ziege was a lethal drill on the left flank, although he didn't start regularly in that tournament as expected due to injury and positional competition. Whenever he entered the field, Ziege left his mark. His image was later associated with the eccentric mohawk hairstyle at the 2002 World Cup, but in '98, he was still a lad with a gentler appearance. Ziege's club career was incredibly brilliant as he wore the shirts of top teams like Bayern Munich, AC Milan, Liverpool, and Tottenham. However, persistent injuries robbed him of many chances to shine and forced him to retire earlier than expected. Refusing to surrender to fate, Ziege turned to coaching. He managed German youth teams and went through several small clubs in Germany, Spain, and Austria. Although he hasn't achieved massive success on the coaching bench, his persistence is admirable. Ziege's life after football has been quite quiet. He loves a simple life, away from the hustle and bustle. The biggest tragedy struck him when his beloved wife passed away after a serious illness a few years ago. That immense loss made him quieter, but also stronger to be a pillar for his children. Today, Christian Ziege continues to work in the football environment, usually in the role of coach or sports director for lower league teams. His story is a song of resilience in the face of both physical and mental pain. Jens Jeremies, position: midfielder. Jens Jeremies, the 24-year-old midfielder with romantic long hair but a fiery playing style, was an interesting discovery for Germany. He was the type of industrious worker player, unafraid of collisions, and always fighting with 200% effort. At France '98, Jeremies was trusted to add steel to the midfield. His rolling, fearless style of play was exactly what Germans always took pride in. He was the embodiment of the spirit of never giving up, ready to sacrifice himself for the collective. The peak and also the tragedy of Jeremies is tied to Bayern Munich. He was a key factor in the 2001 Champions League victory. However, to achieve that glory, he paid a very high price, playing the semi-final while his knee was seriously damaged. That decision helped the team win, but caused his career to wither early due to chronic injury. Jeremies had to retire when he was just over 30, leaving fans with much regret for a brave warrior. Leaving the pitch, Jeremies chose a life completely away from the flashbulbs. He founded a player management and financial consulting firm, using his painful experiences to help young players avoid mistakes. He lives privately, enjoying elegant hobbies and spending time making up for his family. His sacrifice years ago is praised by the world, but for Jeremies, it was simply responsibility. Today, Jens Jeremies is a successful businessman, a conscientious agent. He still watches football, but with the mindset of a calm observer, satisfied with what he dedicated and traded. Christian Wurns, position: center back. Christian Wurns, 26 years old, arrived at the 1998 World Cup as a future pillar of the German defense. He played solidly, strongly, and with discipline throughout the group stage. However, fate teased him and turned him into the center of a tragedy. The direct red card in the 40th minute of the quarter-final against Croatia after a foul on Davor Šuker changed everything. Germany collapsed after going a man down, and Wurns became the villain in the eyes of the public at that time. It was the biggest scar in his international career, a haunting moment that took him many years to wash away. Overcoming that shock, Wurns returned to his club and proved his mettle. He became a legend of Borussia Dortmund, an exemplary captain, and an irreplaceable stronghold for many years, winning the Bundesliga in 2002. A brilliant club career partly soothed the pain of 1998. After hanging up his boots, Werns moved into coaching, focusing on youth football. He led the U teams of Bochum, Dortmund, and German national youth teams. In real life, Werns is a quiet, serious, and extremely principled man. He rarely speaks about the past, always looking forward. The way he stood up after a mistake to build a solid career is a valuable lesson for his young students. Today, Christian Werns is still diligent on the training ground as a youth coach. He uses his own painful experience to teach young players about focus, bravery, and how to face failure. For him, football is the greatest school of life. Jörg Heinrich, position, defender/winger. Jörg Heinrich was the lungs of the German team in 1998. At 28, he started all 5 matches, operating tirelessly along the flank. Hailing from East Germany, Heinrich possessed abundant stamina, excellent speed, and amazing versatility. He was not the brightest star, but the most diligent one, always excellently completing the assigned tactical tasks. His stable performance at the World Cup helped him catch the eye of European giants, opening a new chapter in his career. Immediately after the tournament, Heinrich moved to Fiorentina, Italy, for a record fee for a German player at that time, becoming a teammate of Batistuta. After a successful stint in Serie A, he returned to Dortmund and continued to win titles. After retiring, Heinrich opened a large sports shop, a quite practical and interesting direction. However, nostalgia for the pitch pulled him back to coaching. He once worked as an assistant coach at Dortmund under Peter Stöger and led several lower league teams. Jörg Heinrich is the model of humility and hard work. He never considered himself a star, but always viewed himself as a dedicated professional. His life is peaceful with his family, no scandals, no noise. That simplicity makes him always loved by fans. Today, Jörg Heinrich remains attached to football in the role of club ambassador for Borussia Dortmund and participates in coaching. He is the bridge between the past and present, bringing the story of ceaseless effort to ignite the fire for fans.